Hey guys, what's up? Super excited about the updates to the Bone Spirit build for Season 5. So after playing through the season so far and seeing the Essence Gen, and if you watch the first couple videos, talked about this season's going to be all about the Essence Gen. It's not going to be about your max Essence. It's not going to be about anything else. It's going to be about how do you keep your Essence up, because losing the Essence on Shaco, losing out on the Essence on the Banished Lord's Talisman, as well as the new tools we got from the boots, which we absolutely have to use these boots with this build. We lost the energy per second there. So just overall, we lost out on a lot of essence ability, or essence regen ability in this build. Especially considering as you go into Hordes, you're going to need the damage reduction from Shaco to use the build. And just really you need a lot of defense to be able to run it efficiently. So as we've been going through, and you guys may know King Pig, I've been working with him over the past few days about getting the build really where it's supposed to be. Props to him. He's the one that came up with the Essence on Kill idea. So if you don't know, Bone Prison counts as minions, which is part of why we use Requiem in this. But every time you cancel, so the animation when you can't cast it and then you cancel it, counts as a kill. So previously, it really didn't matter that much because we only had 5 walls with the old Bone Prison. So it wasn't a lot of essence. But now we have 10 walls. And having 10 walls means that you have a substantial amount of opportunity to get essence on kill. So if you look at my stats right now, I'm currently sitting at 20 essence on kill. And my gear's not that great. I've got some good pieces, but overall it's just not that great. Missed some hits, but 20 as it stands right now from the gear and the Paragons. So every time that I cast a repeat on the Bone Prison, I get it back. So if you're going through the regular motions, it's instantly back to full by casting one single Bone Prison. The other thing that we have now that we don't have to wait for Essence Regen is we are able to shotgun or machine gun this and just rapid fire away one after the other. And as you see here, we can maintain a consistent 10 billion DPS just ongoing, and it's not even that hard to do. So what we're going to go through is the changes. I'm going to go over all the gear pieces, what the expectation for those gear pieces are, and kind of just go through the new Paragon briefly. I'll have the planner linked in the description of this video. Alright, one other thing to note for this build, there are 2 versions of it, and essentially they're the same thing. It's just one is going to be much more usable in the pits, and one is going to be much more needed in the Hordes. So in the Hordes, when you get up into T7s, T8, you're going to take a lot of damage. So Doombringer is an incredible sword for this build. While we lose some damage from it because we're going from a 2-hander to a 1-hander, we're getting a substantial amount of life gain. We're getting the DR. We do lose out on the additional essence gain from the boots. But overall, for the pits, one of the things that has always been about pits is damage, 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 glass cannon. Well, Hordes is not that. You can one-shot most of the baby mobs, the ads, with most builds. So the ads themselves are not a big deal. What is a big deal is being able to survive all the ground effects, the fact that you've got 100 mobs at once smacking you, and when you get to the elites and the bosses at the end, they do a lot of AoE damage as well. So real quick, that switch. So you see my HP right now is sitting at 50,000. As soon as I put on the second set, I'm sitting at 80,000 HP without a potion. So those 2 items are really easy to switch. What you are looking for them on these 2 items is going to be Doombringer, of course. Damage reduction or max life. I hit max life to get to 80k, and then I hit a damage reduction on the other one. But for your offhand, you're going to want inner max life, maximum resource, and your essence on kill. For your tempers, you want the bone spirit damage. I hit bone crit strike, and I was almost breaking this item, so I left it. And the other one that's a huge need is going to be your bone splinter projectiles. If you watched the other video, we talked about what the bone boots do now, but we'll go through that here in just a second when we go through the rest of the gear. For your 2-handed switch, what you're looking for is int, max life, and essence on kill. Same thing, you're looking for bone spirit damage, and you're looking for the bone splinters projectiles to cast twice. Now, one of the things that is so important about these switches is, and the changes is, we're going minionless for the most part. For the 2-hander, you can run minionless. I have found that it's more consistent with the Doombringer, the Horde version, to use for minions. But your over crit chance, it's fine. It doesn't impact your crit strike chance at all, sacrificing the minions. If you do go to the two-hander version, and again, that's going to be for pits, it's a little overkill to have that much HP for pits without that much damage. So it's going to be important that you just maintain your crit strike chance for your Horde version. All right, so the gear. We're using Shaco here. You want to get, I lucked out. I got a GA and I triple crit it, but you're going to want to at minimum hit a double crit on a regular one. Triple crit is ideal. For your chest plate, we're still looking for Int, Max Life, and Macabre. We want to hit your Macabre as many as you can. And one major change that we've made to the two-hander version is we're now slotting in Necrotic Carapace. Why that's important is we're not getting as many corpses from the Reapers to keep us fortified. So being able to know that we're getting extra fortified from the Hued Flesh and the deaths we're already getting, that's why it's so important to keep the Hued Flesh or the Necrotic Carapace as high as possible. It's also very important. We don't really care about curse size, but we do want our corpse tendril size to be at 100%. For the gloves, you're going to want max life or int here with core skills. The middle slot is going to be your flex slot, depending on where you've got your crit chance and attack speed. You want somewhere around 50% attack speed, and again, you want 100% crit chance. And then for your gloves here, you're going to do bone spirit damage. And again, trying to get my corpse tendrils to 100%, you have two choices on where to get it into your gloves and your chest. So you have to hit corpse tendril size on both of those. Legs stay the same. We're shooting for all of our tempers to be on max life. For the boots, you're going to want a really high roll on your bone prison splinters aspect, but you're also going to want a GA or as high roll on your bone skills as possible, and you are looking for GA or your Masterworking crits on your bone skills. We already talked about these two. Into the rings. The rings are going to be your other flex slot. If you have crit chance on your gloves, you can have your attack speed on your rings, but you have to have intelligence and essence on kill on both of them. And your second ring, same thing. You want int, preferably int, essence on kill and attack speed as well. The first ring is going to stay the same. We're keeping the Cobb restores essence. But on the other ring, we're getting rapid ossification. And now that we have the ability to keep our essence up all the way, whereas last season we didn't, we had to wait till the essence was regen, so we didn't care that there was that little interim of which we weren't able to cast Bone Spirit. So now with the essence on kill, and we are able to machine gun this non-stop. So it's important to make sure that you've got your rapid ossification so that you're getting the entire 4 seconds. And as you see, my Bone Spirit actually has no cooldown whatsoever. And my Bone Prison, as soon as the Spirit lands, also has no cooldown. So this is what's allowing us to continue spamming this indefinitely throughout the combat. So I do have a little video of showing the two-hander, how high you can get your damage. You can get well into the 15-16 billion DPS. But on average, I do maintain pretty much a 10 billion plus DPS on the two-hander and about 7 to 8 billion DPS on the Dudebringer setup or the Horde setup. Why that's important is one of the things that's always been brought up with Necro is we're just not good clears, we're slow, but there are no other classes that are going to do what Bone Spirit right now is doing to the Horde bosses. And if you're looking for speed runs with a group, it's great to have a big bopper at the end just to clear through those bosses. Consistently, I have a play group that asks me to come join them to be able to kill the bosses. Not that they can't, it's just an incredibly faster process. And you can see that in the video that was at the beginning of this guide. All right, so let's go to Paragon. The Paragon changes were pretty substantial. For your Doombringer setup, there is one change at the end for using the two-hander, and I'm going to show you what both of those are. So for the first board, we have, of course, the first has got Gravekeeper in it. Then we're going into our Bone Graft board. And on that one, we're using Essence. Our next board, we have the Bloodbath for the additional overpower damage. And we're using Exploit here. Over here we've got Scent of Death, and we're using Dominate. Blood Begets Blood with Amplify. over here we've got Flesh Eater. One of the things about this build is, and I'll pause for here for the Flesh Eater for a moment. This is a major change we've made to this build. With us machine gunning this now, we don't have the time to prime and make sure that we've got Flesh Eater ready for boss fights, for high spike moments, because we're already spamming consistently, and you don't want to really mess up your rotation as little as possible while you're doing this. So we removed Flesh Eater. It just didn't make sense trying to keep and weave in the constant corpse or consume with the mages or your corpse explosion. But also for your two-hander version, you don't need that at all. You can slot in Blood Mist so that you can go through pits and not have to worry about any of the boss mechanics either. But in Flesh Eater, we've got Corporeal. Then over here is going to be our flex slot. So for your Doombringer, the one that I said I found most consistent using the minions for the extra essence, is going to be over here for the Cult Leader board. Same thing, we're picking up the nodes for the DR for the minions. I'm using Dead Razor because it also gives us a 15x versus a 10x. And so there's two options that you can do for flex. The first flex is just going to be to remove it and throw your control in. This one is fantastic for clearing because you keep all mobs constantly CC'd, so you get that huge amount of increase in damage from that. Your other option, and I'll actually have I'll put a little screenshot here at the end of the Wither node. You can use Wither and slot in Revenge, which is a 10% multi there. And it's not impacted by minions. For like Sacrificial gets shut off with your Bone Prison, so Revenge is a great one here. You can even put one into your skill tree for Thorns there. For the skill tree, really not much change. We did pick up some into Hewed Flesh. And then it pretty much stayed the same. The other thing we removed is completely removed Decrepify. There's no need for it using Shaco. 3 into Necrotic Carapace is different. And then if you're sacking your minions, you can slot them in here. And if you're keeping them, you can put those into your move speed. You can even put some into your Grim Harvest here if you're using Corpse Explosion. So you have a couple of different flex options for that. All right, so that pretty much sums it up. That's the major changes. And that's pretty much it for the build. King Pig has actually been pushing pits with his. He's gotten up to 147 with this build. It's incredible. He's clearing like a madman. But if you've got any questions, you know where I'm at. Leave them in the comments. And if you know something you're doing that's working better than this, let us know. I appreciate it. And thanks for watching. We'll see y'all next time.